Why women's pockets disappeared. At first glance, it might seem like a simple design choice, a fashion quirk that women's clothing so often lacks deep, functional pockets. But the truth is, the disappearance of women's pockets isn't just about fabric. It's about control. Throughout history, the pocket has served not just as a container for personal items, but as a quiet symbol of independence, privacy, and power. So when women's pockets began to vanish, it reflected something much deeper than trends. It revealed a cultural belief about what women should or shouldn't carry, both literally and figuratively. This is the story of how fashion helped shape freedom. Women's pockets, origins in the 1600s to 1700s. Let's go back to the 17th and 18th centuries. Women had pockets, real pockets, but they weren't sewn into dresses. They were separate, tied around the waist beneath layers of skirts. These tie-on pockets were huge. Some were embroidered, others were plain, but all were functional. Women kept money, food, scissors, letters, even stolen goods inside them. They accessed them through slits in their outer clot hing. They were secret, private, powerful. The rise of the reticule, fashion versus function. Fast forward to the late 1700s and early 1800s. Fashion starts to shift. The new styles, empire waist gowns, clingy muslins, didn't leave room for bulky underpockets. Suddenly, women's silhouettes became delicate, smooth, ornamental, and so tie-on pockets were replaced with tiny handbags called reticules. These bags were cute, fashionable, feminine, but they could barely hold more than a coin, a handkerchief, and a calling card. It was more than just a style choice. It reflected changing views of what women should be: passive, ornamental, contained. Why men kept their pockets and women didn't. Now let's talk about men. Men's clothing was evolving too, but in the opposite direction. Trousers got pockets built in. Jackets had inside compartments. Why? Because men were expected to move, work, transact, own things. Pockets were practical because men were seen as practical. Women? They were supposed to depend on men, not carry their own money or tools. No pockets, no independence. You couldn't carry money, ID, or a contract. You couldn't move through the world freely. That wasn't accidental. That was design. Pockets and power, the feminist view. By the 19th and early 20th centuries, suffragists and feminists saw this clearly. They started calling it out. In 1899, Charlotte P. Gilman wrote in The Atlantic about the injustice of women being forced to carry everything in their hands, with no private space. And as women began to fight for voting rights, labor rights, and access to education, pockets became political. They were a symbol of what women were denied and what they were demanding. Pockets became part of the conversation about bodily autonomy, freedom of movement, and access to public life. The fake pocket era. Even as women gained more rights, their clothes didn't always follow. In the mid-20th century, designers like Christian Dior helped usher in styles that emphasize narrow waists and hourglass shapes, where pockets would ruin the line. Some clothes began to include fake pockets, for the look, but not the function. Others had small or useless ones, sewn shut for the sake of fashion. Even in the 2000s, women's jeans were made with ridiculously shallow front pockets, while men's jeans could fit phones, wallets, and more. It wasn't just about style, it was about a legacy. The assumption that women don't need space, don't need function. They're here to be seen, not to move, carry, or do. The number we want, pockets movement. Fast forward to today, and women are still asking, where are the damn pockets? The number we want pockets movement took off on social media, highlighting the ongoing gender gap in clothing design. And it's not just an internet gripe, it's a reflection of deeper inequality. Pockets represent more than fabric. They represent freedom. Freedom to move, freedom to carry your own money, freedom to have a private space, even in public. Conclusion. So, the next time you put on a dress and realize there's no pocket, or reach for your phone and it doesn't fit, remember, it's not just bad design. It's a story sewn into our clothes. A story about who society expected you to be and who you're becoming now. Thanks for watching Everyday History. If you learned something new today, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more stories about how people lived, loved, and rebelled through the most ordinary details of life. Next up, bathing habits of colonial Americans.